Night Terror's Nightwing issue 1, Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad writing, with Daniel D. Nicolo on art. So what I'll say, there's a moment early on in this where, so the plot of this is that Nightwing's been thrown in a cell at Arkham Asylum for something. We find out much later what it's for, but he's been brought into a cell in Arkham Asylum, and there's a moment where Two-Face in the next cell references, oh, at least I'm not in there with him, and Nightwing looks around and goes, but there's no one here, and I thought, oh, maybe if they just made this a cool little horror story where there's something in his cell that you can't see or something.
Or he's like Two-Face, where he has an alternate personality he is unaware of, and Two-Face is referring to Nightwing, right? Something different.
Whatever, yeah. I bet, I was getting like a horror vibe, and I was like, yeah, okay, I could maybe get into like a horror story. And then from that moment on, it just went downhill. And
so I almost didn't read this because I had a conversation with Connor last night about...
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Why would you do that? Never do that.
I didn't tell him not to read it.
No. And he goes, I'm done with the Night Terror stuff myself. And boy, was that an experience, especially Nightwing. And then so that primed me to be like, do I need to read this? And then on the way to breakfast this morning, I banged it out on the car ride. That might have been the only improvement, as I almost got car sick. So at least, I was feeling something.
You shouldn't read and drive at the same time. It's not.
I wasn't driving, just so you know. The car was on auto drive. All right, we made it there safe. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a sort of Twilight Zone thing here, but all of the people who should be humans are all like pigs and stuff. Like they all have pig heads, because whatever.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was like meant to be like a Professor Pig thing.
Me too.
And then I saw them all later with like this guy with a bull head, a dog head, a goat head, and like mice and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is just a thing.
Are they going for like a fairy tale thing, like like little pigs,
Maybe.
wolf?
Maybe, but then
I don't know. It kind of seemed really random.
As it's turning to Nightwing and the story that they're telling, it wasn't adding up. But I guess that's dream logic.
Also, one thing, like I don't think the art's necessarily bad, but there was definitely some panels in this book where it felt like Nightwing for certain panels looked like he was 13, like out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, he just looked like he was really young. So. Like just worth mentioning that. But yeah, basically he's just wondering why he's there. They're electrocuting him, giving him shock therapy, try to get him to admit what he did. And
he drops it, your mother, which that did pop me. It's a wrestling term. It doesn't fit Nightwing as a character, but it was a nice laugh.
Eventually, two of the animal head people, the doctors or whatever, take off their faces, and it turns out to be zombies of his dead parents.
That was the moment where I went, oh.
Yeah, that's the moment. That's the moment where I went,
It was already like just mediocre, right? It wasn't terrible up to this point. It was just like, right, okay, it's another one of these books. And then I got to that and I went, oh, it's another one of these books.
Yeah. We're doing this. We're doing the dead parents. I mean, the only compliment I can give it is that they're not falling off a wire and
True.
landing in a circus. That's the only compliment I can give this at this point. But yeah, so he's looking at his dead parents. He jumps through the mirror to get to insomnia in like a old school like insane asylum like doctor outfit as best I can describe him. And there's like someone under Nightwing's bed. That's who the other like cellmate was, and then it turns out to be Scarecrow eventually, who's all contorted. Yeah.
We saw a glimpse early on, and I thought it was meant to be Hugo Strange.
I thought it was supposed to be Gordon.
I saw the big round glasses and thought Hugo Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I had an idea necessarily because it is just like the eyes and the mouth like in the darkness, right? On that page.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when it reveals, he's like, "It's you," and it's like, "Oh, are they doing James Gordon Jr.?" Because that would have been a nice little turn, because they're both these prodigal sons.
No,
right?
It's just
no, it's just Crane.
Scarecrow with no bones.
Yeah. And the thing is that Scarecrow's trying to get out, and he says that the walls move around, so he's trying to explain that to Nightwing. We find out that what Nightwing did was kill Batman, and I'm like, okay, so they're saying that Nightwing has a deep fear that he's going to ruin Batman's legacy or something, I guess. And then the ending is that Babs is also now in here as a patient, and she's like half cybernetic. She's got like metal tubes and stuff sticking out of her face.
I just hate all of this.
Yeah, this one just got worse as it went. it started off okay, maybe a nice idea or two, and then it just plummeted. So
it starts okay, and by the end is actively bad.
And this creative team I've been hit and miss with, but I really enjoyed Batgirls, so it's not like they can do good. I know they can.
That was the other thing that kind of motivated me. I was like, okay, I kind of know what I'm in for with these. That if it's,
I know we all fell off the Wonder Woman stuff, but it was never like this bad.
No,
it wasn't this bad, but it also wasn't worth like. If I'm crunched for time, that's eventually why I dropped Wonder Woman, right?
I bring that up though because like last week with Green Lantern, like I don't blame Jeremy Adams for that issue being what it was really. Maybe a little bit, but for the most part, it's just this is the predicament of this event and the tie-in nature of it.
I would trust this team with Gotham stuff, right? So like you would have a little bit more, like Pete's saying with Adams on there. Like there's a little bit more. Like you don't blame the editor. Them, it's more editorial of like you got to tell a nightmare, and Jake's got to be afraid of killing Batman for whatever reason.
Yeah, like because typically when you're reading that like a long run of say Batman, right, and there's an issue, and don't bring up. I know Tom King did an entire arc of nightmares, right? Forget that, right? But so you're doing like a long run of say Batman, and you do like one issue where it's going to be like in his head is a nightmare. The reason why that'll work when it works is because everything, it's planned for a long time in advance, but also it's thematically there to sort of set up some character beats that are going to be paid off later and things like that.
And also, every other book isn't doing the same thing at the same time.
No, well, it's like when Morrison did the prose issue of the Joker.
Yeah, obviously,
story.
a lot of people hate that.
Yeah, but it was just one. It wasn't the entire.
Yeah, but like like obviously, the fact that everything's doing it at the same time is a problem. But I'm saying the reason why it works in a run and it's not an issue is because it's got a purpose that is planned in the run. Part of the reason why most of these are feeling at best mediocre and at worst just downright terrible is because I get the impression that a lot of these writers were just kind of like, here, you have to do this.
It's notable that there's not a lot of names that have been drafted from outside. It's a lot of like in-house current DC writers, even when they've not got a regular book right now, like this team, like Clune and Comrade. Obviously, they finished on Wonder Woman. And, Bad Girls is over. Like this is just a case of.
It tells me a lot that Tom Taylor didn't have to write a Night Terrors.
Yeah, Joe, it tells me they said, look, Tom, you've got a lot of big things coming up later that you need to be working on. You go do the important things. You don't do any Night Terrors.
And I want to know what Williamson's pitch was to them. They're going like, hey, we're going to take 2 months off, all right? And we're going to have people write these tie-ins, and we're not going to have regular issues out. I want to know what that pitch was.
Yeah, I wonder, like, if this was pitched as something that stopped all the other books, or if DC said, oh, this is an opportunity to let a lot of the artists on the regular ongoings get ahead a little bit. Like, I wonder what the decision process was for that. I don't know. Curious.
Yeah.
So, anywho. But yeah, Night Terrors, Nightwing. Do not recommend it. Matt, what you rate it?
Oh, God. This is a 5.
Connor?
In the spirit of going significantly lower than Matt, 3.5.
I'll give this. I'll say 4, I guess.